Andreas, I read somewhere that your parents' record collection kind of inspired you when you were a little kid. Can you remember the first record you listened from their collection that catched you?
Yeah, it's. I think luckily it was a wide selection of different styles. My father used to listen a lot of country music from Brazil, which is very different from the American country music. And my mom have like Beatles, Bee Gees. In Brazil was very popular soap opera, still is. So it'll have that. Soundtrack for the soap operas and have like all kinds of stuff, from ABBA to, whatever, Jackson 5, so I listen to every type of music, and when I grow up, I started listening to, rock and roll, especially Queen and Kiss, and that's how, I started being more interested in the guitar and etc.
Derek, what was the first record that inspired you? Okay, that you loved a lot.
I think the first record that inspired me was the first record I was able to buy with my own money, to go to the store and actually pick it out. Well, there was a few albums that I got at the same time, but one that sticks out in my mind was Rush Moving Pictures album. And being able to go to the store and buy it, with my own money, it was something really incredible feeling, like really cherish the album and keeping it very clean and the smell of it and just reading all the lyrics and everything about it. It was the artwork and, then, of course, putting on the needle and hearing it, it just changed my whole life.
Your father, he was a German engineer, as far as I know, and your mother a German teacher. So, yes. If that's right. Is it right?
Kein Deutscher gesprochen. Total Scheiße.
Oh, das reicht.
Sorry.
That's enough, actually. That's all you need, really.
No, only need ein Bier, bitte.
But how German was your childhood? So did they cook some German food?
Oh, definitely. My father was born in Brazil in the 30s. My grandma, grandpa from my father's side, came down to Brazil in the 20s. My grandma is from Hamburg. And my mother is from Slovenia, so both came to Brazil. My father's side on the 20s, and my mother's after the Second World War. So I started speaking German before Portuguese when I was very young, and as soon as I went to school, having friends and stuff, I was stupid enough to not wanted to speak German anymore because my friends didn't speak, and I felt a little weird, stupid kid stuff, but I can understand a little bit. My mom still teaches German in Brazil, and my father worked more than 40 years at Mercedes-Benz in Brazil as well. So we, Apfelstrudel, sauerkraut, every the good stuff, kartoffel.
You like the Scorpions as well. You met them.
I love it.
Yes. And also, you started in '84, I think, somewhere around there. Yeah. So, and you're still in Sao Paulo, though. Was there ever a time that you thought about relocation, like moving to another country or something like that? Or did you actually do it? Or
a few friends, they have this this wish to leave Brazil and try out, to start a band outside Brazil. A few friends went, they went out of Brazil, but it never really worked, because they have to work like as a waiter, cleaning stuff, whatever, just to have some money to survive and stuff. But Sepultura waited for the right time, because we have Roadrunner, we signed the contract with Roadrunner, we put it out Beneath the Remains in 1988, at the end of '88. So then we could really tour the world and start, meeting people outside and, crew and press people and making friends and stuff. And we didn't have to move, outside Brazil. We always came back and we have our houses, the support of our family, which was always very important, for Sepultura. So I think we were patient, in a sense that, let's leave Brazil, but with a plan, not go and see what happens, And a lot of people did that in Brazil during those days, and I think most of them never really succeeded,
And you're still there, of course.
Yes, 33 years running. We lived in the United States as well during the 90s, and then we came back to Brazil, and now our headquarters is in São Paulo. That's where we have everything.
But what is the city like today? Is it very dangerous? Did it change to a negative side?
Well, I mean, it is dangerous because a huge city, and it was dangerous back in the 80s and in the 50s. But I mean, for Derek, that it's from outside Brazil, you know, he might have a different perspective on São Paulo as a metropolis, but you have everything in São Paulo, you know, so you have to be careful where you go and what time of the day, like any other big city, I think.
Derek?
Yeah, I would have to agree. I was coming to Sao Paulo almost 20 years ago, and it was definitely, I was coming from New York City. So I think in the 80s in New York, just from going there so often, because my sister was living there, it was a completely different city, very dangerous, complete, collapse almost. You know, the city was in, the introduction of crack cocaine and everything like that. So this was like something that was like really destroying New York as a whole. It was just like eating it away. And a lot of those elements were very scary. But I mean, coming to Sao Paulo, I mean, of course, every big city, like Andres was saying, has these really weird elements that are happening, or really dangerous parts. And it's just a matter of like really being knowledgeable about what's going on in your surroundings. But for me, I think it's incredible. I mean, there's also a vast amount of more people living in Sao Paulo than New York. Far more than I imagined. So that adds to, a lot of things that are going on in politics and everything. But for me, I enjoy it. I have a different way of, I'm a pretty big guy. And so I don't really have a problem, but I think it would be different if you were a woman moving there, and you wouldn't have the freedom. I think usually at night you'd have a little bit of fear going out. You have to be very careful. And but other than that, I mean, I've been very lucky, and I've only met like incredibly, majority of the time I've met, incredibly nice people, the nicest people in the world. Especially in Brazil, they love tourists.
Since you mentioned politics just before, what's the situation like over in your country these days? I mean, everywhere it seems to be getting more crazy and crazy. What's going on? So what's
Brazil,
happening?
it's perfect right now.
Of course.
We have everything working perfectly. The politics are clean and very open. No, I think we live in one of the worst political crises in our history. A lot of corruption, of course, and finally, big politicians and big names and like managers and CEOs from big companies and stuff are going to jail. That's something unheard on Brazilian history, and it's causing like a turmoil between the politicians and the law. They trying to change the law to protect themselves even more, and the amount of money that they stole, it's unheard on anywhere in the world. Like the oil company from Brazil, Petrobras. I mean, they really destroyed that company. Like billions and trillions of dollars, Swiss accounts and all that stuff. And the state of Rio de Janeiro, for instance, it's completely broke. It's insane. We have a president that was impeached a year ago. It can happen with the vice president now that's in power. It can happen again, and we have elections next year. So it's very uncertain. It's really crazy momentum that Brazil is going through right now, and it's a little confusing,
So someone like Trump is almost like a sane guy to you guys.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know what Derek has to say about that, but. But
the look on his face tells a lot.
On the other hand, it's very positive because people are very much aware how political system works. I mean, we have like this guy steals. Everybody knew, but nobody knew exactly how the system worked. And now everybody is talking. Oh, I pay this guy. It works like this. It works like that, and everything, and the amounts, of money and everything. So it's very positive. The population in Brazil knows what a congressman supposed to do, knows what the Senate, supposed to do, because people didn't care about that. And now I think people are actually having a better idea how the crazy, dirty world of politics works in Brazil, and I think that's very positive for a near future, to have a better position to vote and to be a citizen, in Brazil and really fight for our rights as citizens, So I think in the end it's going to be something very positive for the country, I hope.
Having experienced this, I mean, what's going on in Brazil, of course, comparing this to the situation in your home country, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of similarities. I mean, with the politics in the U.S. and the people, I mean, it's very hard for people to really grasp what's really happening, what's going on, but they're becoming a little bit more aware of what's happening. But at the same time, there has to be a lot more communication as far as the goals of what everyone wants. You know, there's too much of a division between left and right and these different parties, which is kind of ripping the country apart. It's the same as happening in Brazil as well with these sides, you know, and there's never really moving forward with, you know, things that are really important. And all those things get forgotten because of all this bickering and arguing between two sides. You know, I don't like to choose any of those sides because I don't feel a part of those sides. There's certain elements of certain sides that I agree with, and there's others that I don't. And people need to take in the balance and to communicate more, not yelling or not like fighting, or, you know, to really, you know, develop a common ground and move forward. And I think that's the biggest problem that most countries have with these politicians. You know, they're not doing anything for the people to move forward, unfortunately.
Talking about Brazil, even though those bad things are going on, or those changes, I think most people, when they hear the word Brazil, they know about Carnival in Rio.
Sunshine.
Yeah. So, what about you? Do you actually like that time of the year when there is Carnival in Rio, or is it for you like, oh, horrible, all those tourists and just a nightmare?
Yeah, I don't like the whole carnival stuff. It's cool because it's a big holiday. So there are places in Brazil that you can run away from the big party and really relax and being away from all the noise and everything. But if you wanna go and really go for the party, is one of the best parties in the world for sure. You know. In Rio de Janeiro, when you go to see all the parade and you feel that sound live, it's fantastic. You know, it's amazing. It doesn't matter what kind of music you like, you feel something very real and alive there. And that stuff influenced a lot Sepultura. You know, of course, KSAD and Roots when we started using the percussion and stuff. But I prefer to go away. You know, I went to Rio once. I felt that. Enough for me, you know.
What
Dressed
about
up as well? Were you
what
wearing
about
one of
you?
those costumes?
No costumes there. No patience for that.
I'm kind of on the same page. I went once, and it was incredible, an incredible feeling, a vibe. You know, you really feel it. You know, all around you. It's undeniable, and it's incredible. It's beautiful as well. The parade of like different costumes and everything that they put into it. They spend a whole, you know, year working on it. And it's fascinating. I mean, it's definitely something to check out. But for me, I just only need to see it once, you know. In Rio, I saw it. But it would be interesting to see it in other cities around Brazil, like older cities. You know, I think would be, definitely mind-blowing.
We actually played in Salvador,
true.
Bahia.
That's what you taught me once.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was different, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Carnival in Bahia is very different from Rio. Carnival in Bahia is more a street carnival. It's like a more democratic. I mean, everybody is allowed to be a part of it. You know, it like these big trucks. I mean, full of equipment. You know, we put 3 bands on this truck. Carlinhos Brown, who was the percussionist who played at Roots album together with us, and we wrote Hata Mahata together. We did this together in Salvador, Bahia, like 2 years ago, and it was insane. You know, it was fantastic. You know, the respect we got from everybody around, because it was the first time to put like heavy metal in the circuit of the Carnival. You know, but it fit so well. You know, people were very respectful. And a lot of the black shirts came and, you know, followed the truck. It's like you stay up on that truck like for 8 to 10 hours, you know, nonstop. So it's crazy rhythm, you know, but people are so used to that, you know, the adrenaline, and you have one truck playing heavy metal here, and then comes another truck playing another totally different style, and another one coming with reggae, you know.
That sounds fun.
It's a circuit that it's great as well, you know. It's a very interesting, different carnival, you know, from Rio and from samba itself. You know, it's a whole different. Anything goes, you know, which is great.
But were there people shocked, like when your music came? They're like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, I believe some were. Yeah, but it's very loud. You know, I mean, the PAs is like, the trucks are right here, and it's like,
though. You see other people like their
Yeah.
girlfriends like, what? What happened to the dancing?
Yeah.
I was gonna dance. And the boyfriend's like,
but it's really
Hilarious.
quick, like if we go through and it's like, there's a lot of stuff going on. So if you don't like something, you'll pass quickly.
Have you
And
got,
if you really like you have to follow, the truck, and then you're there.
run along?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, when you started like in '84 and in your mid '80s, you were youngster still, I guess. So life has changed, I guess, in so many ways. You're settled with families and stuff these days, or
Yeah, I have one family. So
that's enough. That's enough for a whole life, actually.
one official wife. No.
Official,
Yeah.
yes. Makes sense.
I have a wife and 3 kids, and the same wife, the same mom, which is it facilitates everything. But it's great, my daughter is 22 years old. She's a dentist now.
Serious business.
Yes.
yeah.
And my son, Johan, is 19 years old. He loves music as well, playing. He has his own band, studying music.
But I think you also have a radio show together, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, me and Johan, we have a radio show in São Paulo. It's 1 hour a week every Sunday. And we have the freedom to play whatever we want.
But do you fight a lot that he wants to play something and you're like, no?
No, because I command everything. I'm his father.
Right on.
I'm the father and the director of the show. No, it's cool because he brings a new perspective, his, from his age and his influences and the way he sees music. And it's great. It's 5 years now that we have the radio show. And for you that is not from Brazil, it's radiorock.com.br. And you can listen to all the podcasts, and you can listen live as well. It's in São Paulo, Brazil, 7 to 8 p.m. every Sunday.
But was there one song where you said like, no, we won't play this song?
No Sepultura.
No,
None at all
Sometimes we have
whatsoever.
to ask for Sepultura because otherwise they'll be very mad. No, it's like, no, it really anything goes. I think that's the purpose of it. Of course we have the heavy metal as the thematic of everything, but heavy metal is influenced by so many different styles of music that we can play anything there, and have a connection with heavy metal and to show especially people who doesn't understands heavy metal that heavy metal has such a wide audience. I mean, it is the most popular style of music in the world. That's for sure. I mean, Sepultura played in 76 countries, so far in 33 years. Dictatorships, democracy, every type of religion, it's amazing, and that's not only Sepultura, but heavy metal in general, it goes everywhere. So I think we me and my son, we use that freedom really to talk about everything,
Just to round us off, how many families did you have in these 33 or 30-something years?
I have one son who's 8 years old, and he's Czech, and he lives in Prague. So small family, but I live in Sao Paulo, and majority of my family is in the U.S. still. So I'm definitely missing it, and hopefully, I can spend half of the time there and half the time in Brazil, because Brazil is really my home at the moment. It's been for so many years, and it feels that way. So it's great. It's like a whole new family. It's incredible, and I never imagined. Obrigado.
Thank you guys so much. It was great having you.
Dankeschön, vielen Dank für alles.
Sehr gerne.
Tschüss, bis später.